Hello and welcome. In this video, we are going to talk about one of the most popular container orchestration tool known as Docker Swarm. It is really very interesting to understand why we are using this tool. So, let's start with introduction of container orchestration tool Docker Swarm. So here we have introduction. Docker Swarm is a container orchestration tool that allows you to manage a cluster of Docker engines as a single virtual system. First of all, I want to tell you that if you have only single Docker host, you do not need to use any container orchestration tool. If you have multiple Docker hosts, then you are going to use any container orchestration tool. Why we need to use this if we have multiple Docker hosts? I am giving you one simple example. Let's say that if I have 3 Docker hosts. Now these 3 hosts are actually communicating individually. Host 1 don't know about host 2 and host 2 don't know about host 3. In this case, it will be very difficult for you to manage high availability and scalability. But if you connect all these 3 Docker hosts with a single system, and if all this Docker host is going to follow orders from this particular single system, you can manage your environment very easily. And same thing can be done using container orchestration tools like Docker Swarm that we have. Docker Swarm will centrally manage all your Docker hosts. Docker Swarm will order your host 1 that, hey, please start this container, and Docker host 2, you can start replica of this container. This is how we will provide high availability. If Docker host 2 goes down, it will automatically start replica in the host 3 as well, because now all your hosts are actually in control of Docker Swarm. And this is actually simple use case of container orchestration services like Docker Swarm. It's built into the Docker and it is used to deploy, manage and scale containerized application across the cluster of machines. Now you guys may have one question as well that Docker Swarm is not as popular as Kubernetes. We have main Kubernetes tool which is actually number 1 container orchestration tool. Why we are not talking about Kubernetes? Why we are talking about Swarm here? Is it useful? Let me tell you. Kubernetes is so complex. Kubernetes is for huge, large environment. Kubernetes is actually third-party tool. While we are talking about Docker Swarm is actually Docker's own tool. Kubernetes is complex, Docker Swarm is so easy. In large environment, definitely you will get Kubernetes, but in small environment, you will get Swarm only. Another point that I want to tell you, that if you are going to learn Kubernetes directly, because of the complexity, you may not get clear understanding about how the things are working. But if you understand all this terminology of load balancing and scaling using Swarm, it would be very easy for you to understand Kubernetes environment. What I can say here that we are actually setting up our foundation to understand Kubernetes, because once you will go to the Kubernetes, because of the complexity, it would be very hard for you to understand specific topic. This will help you to understand how Kubernetes is actually working. So, consider this as a foundation. And small companies, mid-sized companies are always prefer to use Swarm instead of Kubernetes. So yes, in the market, this is also very, very valuable. Now, let's talk about why Swarm. Here, I have 6 reasons that why companies or corporate environments are using Swarm. Easy as of use and simplicity. Integrated with Docker, simple setup. Docker Swarm is actually Docker's own tool. So you do not need to worry about how we are going to set up the environment and all this. It is a really very simple process to set up Docker Swarm cluster because it is always integrated with Docker itself. Native Docker integration, unified CLI, Docker Compose compatibility, unified CLI. Now you guys are already aware about Docker CLI. All the commands are starting with the Docker and you are already aware, right? Same commands we are going to use with Swarm as well. We already completed Docker Compose videos. Now we can use same functionality with Docker Swarm. So we do not need to learn new things over here. Whatever we have completed so far, we are going to use this with Docker Swarm. Lightweight and less resource intensive. Resource efficiency and lower overhead. It is really very lightweight. You don't want any kind of specialized hardware or anything. I am creating this cluster inside T2 Micro, which is actually free EC2 instance from AWS. Let me tell you, if you are using Kubernetes, you cannot use T2 Micro. Kubernetes resource requirement is actually intense. So this is like another advantage. Then simplicity of architecture, flat learning curve, straightforward architecture. We are going to perform labs. You are learning this right now. So definitely you will realize that it is really very simple to understand Docker Swarm. Swarm mode built in. Single binary unified ecosystem. You do not need to install all the stuff over there. If you have Docker host, you can easily use this. And automatic node discovery. Auto discovery and self-organized node. We will understand this practically, so don't worry. But these are actually advantages. These are the reason why people are using Swarm. These are the reasons that why we are learning Swarm right now. Now, we have to understand problems as well. It is not like whatever we are learning, I am going to tell you positive things about this particular tool. There are negative things as well because in real world scenario, people may ask you question about this. So here we are going to talk about 8 problems with the Swarm.
Sorry guys, sorry to disturb you. I know you all are enjoying the session and suddenly it stopped. But if you want full video or if you want full Docker course having 130 plus videos including projects, you can become our community member. Enrollment link is in description. Moreover, we also provide 24/7 support, weekly lifetime live session with Bhavesh Atara, updates and completion certification as well. Still you have any queries regarding it, you can contact me on my personal number. Thank you.